So I'm here in the eastern panhandle region of Texas in the town of Paducah. This is an area that has suffered tremendously from population decline in recent decades, and no town has been hit harder by that than Paducah. This is a town that has lost 2/3 of its population since the 1950s, and it's not the only town in this region. Most towns here have lost significant percentages, many of them over 50%. And so it's not just one city, it's a regional issue. I think that there are only a handful of farms left in Cottle County. As time goes by, people struggle more and more to find a way to earn a living out here. And so if population trends continue, this town will very soon drop below 1,000. And so what happens over the next 50 years to this town? That's the big question. So anytime a town has experienced massive population decline the way Paducah has, you're going to see a lot of abandoned homes. So this is an example of one of those. And so I'm going to drive around this town and try to capture some images of that very phenomenon. So even though all the signs point to continued decline of this town, there are some bright spots. And one of them is this Hunter's Lodge Motel. A gorgeous historic building here near the main square. So this looks like a fantastic place to stay. So I'm here in the town of Memphis, another town in this region that has suffered tremendous population decline, over 50% total, and over 40% since the year 1980. And again, it has a beautiful town square that is empty. I mean, this is a Saturday, folks, and there is no one here. So Memphis is a bit larger than Paducah, and it does have some advantages in that it's right along Highway 287, which is a major highway running from Fort Worth to Amarillo. However, that has not been able to stop the large percentage population decline that this town has seen. Next we visit the town of Borger, Texas, the largest town on my list. So I'm on Main Street here in the town of Borger, Texas. This is a town that had a wild history during its first decade. Oil was first discovered in the panhandle region of Texas in 1921, and a few discoveries later, Borger exploded. In 1926, the town formed, population swelled almost overnight, and so with all that prosperity brought problems. But one of the big problems during its first decade was a lot of organized crime and bootlegging. Things got so bad that in 1927, the Texas governor sent in a force of the Texas Rangers to try to get the town under control. And things got a little bit better, but in 1934, the founder of this town was shot and killed. So Borger was once an oil boom town in the 1920s. And since the 1960s, it has decreased from 21,000 down to 12,000. And so even though it still has a population of 12,000 people, it is declining and has lost about 1,000 people in the last 10 years. Let me tell you something, folks. That was a long time ago. Must have been kind of like the movie Hoosiers, because it looks like there's about 20 people living here today, maybe a little more, at that school. Must have been where it all happened. This high school, or former high school, won 3 state basketball championships back in the 1960s. That is crazy. And so this is what's left over from the school. So you see on the front there, it says 1928. Wow. Lots changed since then. A lot of the buildings here now are empty. But I often like to think of, when I see places like this, you know, the memories that were once made here. Can you imagine how excited this little place in the world must have been when those kids were winning state championships? I mean, look at this. This is the old gymnasium that team played in. Can you imagine what the pep rallies were like here? State championships were won inside this little gymnasium, way out on the high plains of the southern panhandle.